All right, folks, good morning and welcome to the new coffee run with John from ProCraps. Here we are, back from Craps for the Cure and back on schedule here. It's going to be hopefully a pretty good and fun week. So as we go through the day, if you have questions, put them up there for me if you would. Big old Q in the front of that, and I'll get to those at the end of the show like I always do. But let's get started here. I'm actually going to start and play a little bit every day with you. I'm going to bring some money in my rack. I'm going to bring... let's bring 2,500. Let's bring 5K to the rack over here from the bank and have a little coffee run. What do you say? I'm going to set a point here. I'm going to get, hopefully make a quick couple of bucks and get out of Dodge. Actually, what I'm going to play today is I'm going to play kind of the way that I played most of the weekend out there at Crash for the Cure, a little bit of what we call the duck and cover. It seemed to work pretty good for me over the weekend. Let's see how well she works today. Here we go. We're going to get our point set. Let's see, what dice set should I use? I'll use the one that I did my good roll yesterday with. We'll do the little 4-1 stack. Let's just see. Hopefully they're showing up okay on screen here. You all see that's a 4-4-8 as I roll that in. 4-4 hard 8. Now what I'm going to do is just go with the $5,000. I got a couple of bullets here. Let's go with like 800 across. Okay, we'll take $1,000. We get $200 in change. And let's go 800 across. I'll take that away. And that will look like this. It'll be 150 here on the 6 and 8. And 125 everywhere else. And there's your 800 across. Now, we're going to take a hit on a number and bring the number down. And hopefully get 2 or 3 hits and we'll be out of here, right? That's the whole point, getting out of here quick and then getting to keep playing for a minute, right? So here we go. We'll take a couple of rolls here. Hopefully we can get this done, then we'll get to talk. I have lots to say today. Tons of things on my mind today as it rolls. There's a 5-1, 6. Looks like I've got to get a zoom in, a better zoom in on the dice so you can see them. But that's a 6, which is cool. And that's 175 on the win, okay? And the 6 will come down. Again, we bring him all the way down as he's happened. I'm going to bring it down to $60. And there's that. This goes back to the rack. When we're doing the rack in the front, is I'm going to keep the front. I'll spread it out so you can see them. Oh, that quarter goes here. As we can see them, until I get my money back, and then we'll know that we're okay. Once the money's back in the rack, we know that we're good, right? Here we go. Now, sometimes I did this. I took 2 numbers down. I kind of went back and forth on taking 1 number or 2 numbers. It just, depending on the day and how we felt. Here's a 6, 4, 2. Now, every time I get something to hit, something's coming down. 60 pays 70. We'll do 75 for 5. And in this case, I'll bring something else down. I'll make the 8 look like 60 as well. Another black in the rack. Now, what I got in the rack, by the way, is $425. Remember, started out there with the 8. Here we go. Nice and conservative here. Not good when you repeat numbers. You want to get the blacks off the neighboring numbers if you can. Another 6. Boy, oh boy, that 3 6s in a row for old Johnny. That'll pay $70, and I don't really have any reds to get some change. So we'll do this. I'll make the 10 look like $25. Bring back a little bit extra. See, as I go here, I'm reducing that risk down, right? What I got out there is 125, 125, 125, 350, plus about $125 in other stuff, right? $400 out there. I got $400 in change in the rack, so I'm good. I'm good to keep playing right now, but I'm not at what I would call a paycheck yet, right? Here we go. Because of that 6, we're going to need 4 hits, right? If I could have spread those out better, we'd have been better off. There's a 617. So we're going to lose what's out there, okay? We weren't really at our paycheck, our morning paycheck anyway. We also didn't get hurt. Okay, we'll do one more crack at it here, okay? And then I'll call it, and we'll go talking. So every day, we're going to try this every day, right? Come out here every day and just kind of give it a shot. Here we go. 800 across again. 6, 8, 5, 9, 4, 10. The reach of the old man is getting, that's another 50 there from the Reds. All right, here we go. We'll set it back up. This time we're gonna roll better. What do you think? I see a bunch of cues up there from Skill. Anybody else has a question? Let me know. And again, I'm just gonna do one more shooter here. Win, lose, or draw, we're out, because I want to make sure I have the chance to talk to you about the weekend. And I have a lot to say about the weekend. You can trust me on that. There's a 5, 4, 9. All righty, Johnny, let's go. Let's get her done. Let's get her done. Maybe this time we'll do a, nah, I'll still play the same way. I was gonna do a little drawdown, but 4, 2, 6. Sweet. All right, 150. I'll pay the rest of it in nickels like that. 175. Looks like 160. Let's go. Let's go. Hope you guys enjoyed the broadcast. I'll tell you what, I'm still, usually when I come back from this thing, I get kind of tired and like I lose my voice. Not so bad this time. Knock on wood. I don't have the COVID yet. There's an 8. Also pays 175. That's good. 175 there. That's what I want to see is 2 bigger hits, not 2 little hits, right? 175 coming back. Pull the 8 down and reduce it. Now they're both down at what I would call a minimum size bet for this bet level. All right, here we go. Here we go. 3 clean hits. Can I get 3 clean hits? No, we got a 7. What a bummer, man. Didn't get our paycheck today. Did not get our paycheck. And again, there were days this weekend where I played this way, got more than a couple hits like that, right? And I would pull 2 numbers down instead of 1. Today I wanted to pull 1. So where do we end up, right? We in for 800, right, on our first couple of bets there. What I got in the rack here, get these greens colored out, is this. I have 530, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, $530. So we failed twice, but we're only down $300, right? Remember, I started with that. Oh, I'm sorry, $500. We started out with 1,000. We're down 5. Not terrible, gettable, given time, right? We should go back out there maybe tomorrow morning. We'll start with the same bankroll. Actually, I'm going to start with the same bankroll tomorrow. I want to show you something and talk to you through something I heard over the weekend from Heavy, which I think is kind of important. But let's get over here and let me jump in and say good morning. Now look at the new setup, right? I'm actually out here at the table now. So tomorrow's show will be a little bit of a tour of the new studio. The lighting here kind of sucks, but we'll get a little tour of the new studio tomorrow. I took a short film the other day and kind of walked you through. You'll see it. I walked you through how it was in here. Decorations wise, nothing's changed, right? You got all the same. The hats are up there. You guys can't see, but I'll give you a little view of it. And we'll talk about like why I'm doing what I'm doing. I think I like sitting here better than in my office, right? I think it looks better. It feels more like a crap show, right? You're not looking at my stupid door behind me, and you know what I mean? I just think it feels a little more like it ought to. So anyway, just recovering. I got back last night at about, I think I landed here in Seattle or in Wenatchee last night around 12 last night. Coming back from Vegas for me it's not a great comeback from Vegas. I can tell you that. Like the way I would get my mouse here. The way I'd phrase that is I do like coming back from Vegas, but it is I got to catch 2 flights, right? It used to be go to Seattle, go home, and that was the end of the story. Now coming back from Vegas, I have to actually have a 4-hour layover in Seattle, believe it or not, and then fly half an hour here to Wenatchee. So that kind of sucks. But anyway, let's jump into the oh boy, what happened there? This thing is not. You shouldn't be seeing that. Oh, it's the wrong one. Hold on a second. I think it's this. There we go. That's the better view. Okay, I gotta change a couple things up. But yeah, see, it's a little. Oh no. That's all right. Well, it'll be okay. I should be there. All right, good. Lock that up and move it up. Okay, sorry about that. We'll get it figured out, right? The new setup here. But here's a little summary of the weekend, and I'll do it as best I can to kind of tell the story. definitely, definitely a whirlwind of a weekend, right? So we'll the first thing to announce though is this: we didn't, and I'll come out of the gate and say we didn't get our goal, right? We were looking for 50K, didn't quite get the 50K. We pushed, right? We didn't even get last year's number. We got last year was 28. This year we're at 20, right? So we fell short of even what happened last year, and there's lots of reasons for that, right? Number one, I think not having everybody there, right? Last year we had 50 people come, right? This year we had about 12. So the group size was way different in there, right? This year we had plans, and another thing from last year to this year, and we'll talk more about it, was the number of raffle items and the price of the raffle items was different. I guess my glasses off. Different from last year. So that I think had an impact as well. So we're a little bit down. Now I can't see my screen, so I'll get this figured out. We'll figure that out. We have some meetings to happen here very very soon, um, and I'll go over some of that with you. And we'll do a little event report today as we go. So let's move ahead and get into it. First things first, though. Where's Johnny? So I've done my first 3 trips of the year. The Big AZ trip and this trip are kind of combined into one, and we'll talk a little bit about the Big AZ piece of it. And then I've got a couple of cruises coming up, one in March, one in June. The March one may change. Somebody's going to win that cruise as one of the raffle items, and that cruise will be based on their availability, and so we can join our schedules up. So it may not be that date; it may just be with them. Then I've got my calendar kind of earmarked. It looks like June's going to be potentially um, an AC trip, maybe two, and one for sure in Biloxi. I'll be down there for the Brownwater Bash this year for sure, and then I have the big Alaska cruise coming up in July, and then next September, the weekend of my birthday, the 12th, will be Crap for the Cure 2025. So we're going to do it on a weekend that's not going to be $1,000 a night hotel rooms and all that. So that's the plan. Of course, I'll be at Casino Quest probably once a month, maybe twice between now and then anyway. So anytime somebody's in Vegas, I'm pretty much going to be there. So that's cool. All right, let's talk about the event. I'm going to move this up here. I hope you don't mind watching it, but the event was cool. We how do I say this right? We did some work. I mean, it was a lot of work, and I'm going to call some folks out here in a little while about the work. But I thought we did good. But I'm going to start with the gambling because I think everybody wants a trip report first. And how did Johnny play? Well, I did what I did here for the most part. I would do 160 across basically, right? And I would take a hit on a 6, make it look like 12. Take it on the 8, make it look like 12. Take it on the 5, make it look like 10. And I kind of did that. A lot of times what you saw here happened, right? I get 3 and I'm out. 3 hits and then they'd 7 out. You're pretty much tied in that case. What I started doing towards the end was taking 2 numbers down. So get a hit on the 6, they both go to 12. Get a hit on the 5, they both go to 10. It takes if you get repeats in that case, it takes a little bit to get there, but it was pretty safe. And again, I was trying to get through this weekend as best I could. And here's the outcome. I'll give you the outcomes first. We'll work backwards from where we got. So I bought my golf clubs. Okay, that's the big thing. I made enough money on the trip. I always say have a goal, right? Goal number 1 on a Vegas trip is survive. Get through the weekend with your money. That's number 1 for me. Like get through it. If I would have came back home with $1.50 in profit, I'd have been happy. As it turns out, I earned enough money to buy the set of golf clubs. It's been in my cart, my sticks cart forever, right? So we got that taken care of. Um, we uh, we played the ATS. We had several ATS wins, which was cool. Even a full win by me at one point. My money management, I think, was on point. There was a couple of bad decisions and I can point to 2 bad decisions that I made directly, right? And I'll tell you what they were. In total, those bad decisions cost me $100, but they made me kick myself, right? So there it is. I will I will own up to being a degenerate because it happens. We get in the moment sometimes, right? I made a couple of dumb mistakes there. The duck and cover rocked. Like I said, I played that same strategy almost the whole time, and almost the whole time it worked. There's a couple times where it didn't, but it is what it is, right? It kept me alive all the weekend, and I got to really do well on a couple of I think big wins. I had a 4 and 10 big time win. What do I say? The 4 and 10. I can't even see my own notes there. 4 and 10, the hard way. Man, um, Ryan from Mark the Point, boy, that guy can play some hard ways. He's no joke at the craps table, by the way. That guy can play, and he can bet, and he hit the hard ways a few times. I actually crushed a hard way on one of the tables there. I went to a table. I forget who was there. Maybe it was Joe. I forget if Joe is it Planet Hollywood. I forget which one of us was there, but um, rookie next to me. You know, two guys were rookies, and the one guy guilted his friend into throw. I don't know what I'm doing. Just throw it. Just do it. Right. That guy ended up hitting like 6 or 7 fours, and what I did with the 4 and 10, by the way, is I said to myself, the 4s and 10s are going to be black chips or nothing. I basically did the small press and collect on the inside numbers, but the 4s and 10s, I really kind of had this attitude of like, screw it, they'll be my side bet. And I had the 4 up to $300, and the guy hit a hard 4 at 300, and I had I think $25 in the hard way. So that was the big win of that one night. It was really kind of cool. But Ryan crushed that. He got hit the 4s quite a few times, which is actually really cool. Really cool to see that kind of in person, because he talks about it a lot, right? But he actually did it good. The shooting was stellar all weekend. There was a couple of us that had short rolls, as you expect. I think it took folks a while to get kind of comfortable, and I've said this before. It's hard when you're going with a group, number one, because A, it takes an hour to get the freaking dice back. That sucks. B, you're under a kind of, you feel pressure to shoot good in front of people that you kind of know, right? And have just met for the first time. So there's this weird, right? It took everybody a hot minute, right? But Joe from Crashmaster Journey in specific hit the one night. I'll tell the story in a minute. One night he hit the full ATS for us. A couple of smalls. He hit the small again the next night. A couple of true blue monster rolls and watching him shoot, by the way, was great. Joe was ultra focused. Like, it was not me. Like, people who play with me know I'm not very focused. I could do better. If I had one thing to change, I would change how I focus when I'm shooting. I like to keep it light and not let the nerves come in, right? But I definitely could do a little more like Joe. But my rolls were great. I think I had one 3-shooter. It might have been a Durango or a 4-shooter. At Durango, I think I had like a 9 roller, but it was like all junk. It was like two box numbers. One other time I had a 2 or 3. Once was like a 4. The rest of them were all good. Either, mid-teen, over 10, mid-teens, a couple of really real hotties, which was pretty cool. So yeah, we all had our PSOs, but Big Joe from Craftsmaster Journey delivered in a pretty big way. Like I said, I was pretty good. 7 out of 10 of my sessions, I think, were okay. And don't tell Ed this, but I played crapless, and I actually loved playing crapless. I had a good time. Ryan outed me the other day on the live show. I had a good time. We had a private table at Sunset Station that Premier Hosting got for us. Right? So Premier Hosting, who I work with, set up a separate group from our group. So it was a lot of their players were there at Sunset. That's where we all stayed, and they had put together a private 12-foot, like my size, exactly my table, basically. A super hard surface that everybody seemed to love, but it took that table a couple of days to warm up, apparently. But then it got pretty hot in the end there. I played it the one night with everybody. Ryan from Mark the Point put a short video out of me. I think I had rolled about 16 times, and I was doing really good. I was feeling pretty good about it. He's like, "Hey, I'm going to film you, okay?" I'm like, sure, I don't care, whatever, and I'm waiting to get paid. And we're just bullshit. And he's getting his GoPro up. And I get my thing, and as I'm getting my dice, he's narrating. He's like, "Okay, John's got the thing. He's going to do it. It's a great throw, blah, blah, blah," right? Totally nerved out. Threw the dice way too hard, way into the corner. 7, 5, 2, 7, right? He's like, "Hey, how do you feel about that big shot?" I'm like, "I think like you set me up, Great, right? He's going to get a ton of views. I think he got 9 subscribers off that video. It was fun. It was one of those moments where I told him, I said, if I'd have rolled a 9 and we got paid, big deal, right? I think, Ryan, if you're in chat, correct me on this. I think I was the 2 away from the small on that throw. I think I was the 2 away. Either the 2 away from the small or the 11 away from the tall. I had one number to go for either side. I forget which one it was. And I said, look, if I'd have rolled, it was a 3-1, 2-1-3, right? I needed the ace deuce. I said if I'd have rolled the ace deuce on that one, it would have been epic because we all would have lost our minds, right? If I'd have rolled a 9, nobody would care because okay, big deal, you made $100. Um, the fact that I rolled a 7 made it even more epic. So like I look at that like the epicness of that roll on film was great. It should have been a 7 or it should have been a 2, but anything else would have been a who cares thing. So that was fun. But yeah, we we had a good time. Here's my quick summaries here, right? So Wednesday night, we get in, or I get in, and I go and I pick up Jen and Blake and her husband, and they were at dinner, and off we go out to our casino, our Santa Fe Station casino, and I lost $150 that night. And I did commit, by the way, to playing the ATS the whole time, right? So I played the ATS religiously all weekend. Wasn't always 5-5-5. Sometimes it was 2-1-2 or 1-2-1, or I'm sorry, 2-1-2. Sometimes it was 3-4-3. If I had, what I was basically doing was taking the reds that I had in the rack. So if I had this one red sitting there, right, a lot of times I did. I was trying not to get a bunch of pennies and reds in my rack, like David was saying. I actually played that way. So if I had one red, I would just do a 2-1-2 just to burn the red. If I had more than one, I would do, whatever, $10 or $15. Most places, by the way, didn't require a line bet. There was a couple times we had to have a line bet out there, but a lot of times they didn't, or they just didn't care. But yeah, so that night we bled out a little bit, lost $150, but I came back in the morning and got that back plus a little bit. So I woke up, came down there, and got that back on the way. And I did that pattern quite a bit. At Durango with the big AZ crew, that was fantastic. That was the next night. I think I walked out of there down or up a little bit. I think what did I have here? Was it $300? We missed the ATS on shooter 1. I did. Jen and I were talking. We were sitting here at stick right 1 and 2, and we were talking, and it was like we all walked into the table because the way that they do that is AZ's got the big camera up on the thing, filming the table, and there's a group there, and they called last shooter. Right, the last shooter was Jen. Who was it last shooter? Who's the guy? I forget his name now. Was it Rick? Was it Rick? I forget who it was. Anyway, or Joel. I think it was Rick. I think it was Rick. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We walk up. He's on a 40 roller. Hits the ATS right in front. We're all sitting there around there. Guy pops out an ATS. We're like, oh my God, we missed this monster roll, of course. But it wasn't our turn to play. They all color up. It takes about 10 minutes. They all leave the table. We all come in. That's kind of how AZ runs this thing. We all get in. We all get our spots. I think everybody got to be where they wanted to be. And the dice normally go to the hook, right? They didn't. They went to the guy here at stick left or stick right 1. He was at 1. I was at 2. Jen was at 3, and they gave it to him. I'm like, that's weird. And we're like, why does he get the dice? Why don't they start like we do it normally? Anyway, so we're sitting there kind of like talking and whatever, and he throws the dice, and we're like, oh shit, we missed our ATS bet. Oh well, whatever, right? Guy rolls the ATS. First shooter of our group pops out an ATS like a 35 roller. And because we were talking, we missed it. Totally missed out because we just didn't pay attention, which was kind of dumb. That table was not good to us. It was okay here and there. I made money on him. I made money on another guy. But after that, it was murder time, right? We got past him, and then it went to like Joe and Craig and Brian and Ian and whoever else was and they murdered us. It was like PSO, or one-hit wonders, and it was awful. We all got our clocks cleaned around there. The dice come back over here. We catch a couple of okay-ish kind of rolls, and I forget who it was that had the one that got us kind of back, got us back to losing only $300. That was a rough night, but some of the most fun I've ever had. AZ's out there. He got the camera. He's filming stuff. It was really cool. Great group picture. I'll share some pictures when I get them off my phone. Too late last night to pull pictures. I will pull pictures off the phone. And share some with you tomorrow. I'll throughout the day I'll sprinkle them in, or throughout the week I'll sprinkle them in. We got a great group shot of all of us at Durango. That was great. Durango, by the way, great. They were great to us. They were such good hosts. The dealers were fantastic. It's a bright casino. I didn't remember how, or never saw or knew how bright that place was. You walk in there, it's like daytime. That casino is awesome. Anyway, that was that. Friday we went to Bo's class. So Ian bought a dice class from Bo. Jen and I went out there and hung out with Bo at his house, which was great. That was the crapless night. And I played crapless, which was cool. I think I won money at crapless, and I lost money at the regular table. I lost that, went over to the regular table, and we were, up and down, middling around, and I cashed out. I was up $200. I think I was up $200, and I'm like, I'm going to bed. And the thing was, I was really beat. Like I was really, really, really beat. I knew that because Thursday I'd worked all day at Casino Quest. Friday I worked, a part of the day at Casino Quest, and I was like, I'm just so out of it, and I had so much work to do still. I had to film. I knew on Friday night I had to film. So the opening sequence that you saw during the show, one of those commercials I filmed, like the commercial that showed all the auction items and stuff. I filmed that in my hotel room because I'd forgotten to do it here. So I knew I had to go up to the room and do about 2 or 3 hours of work before Saturday morning's broadcast. So I was still kind of getting things together. And I'm like, I'm going to bed. I made my money, good couple rolls there. I'm going to bed, guys. And I, give everybody their hugs. Off I go. And then the dice came back to the corner over here on stick right on the corner side. And there's only two people there. I'm like, you know what? I kind of want to shoot again, And I think Jen might have said to me, don't do that, right? Like, whatever. And I think it was only I had to wait for one person, right? So the guy, and I said, the deal was like, you got to have action. If you want to shoot next, you got to have action, right? So here I am. I'm up a couple $100 or whatever it was. And I'm like, got to have action. And so the guy gets over here and I go 96 across. That's my action so I can shoot, right? Doesn't that son of a gun PSO on me, right? Burned my profit, basically, right? Most of my profit. Like, damn it, you know what I mean? And I got the dice. And that was one of my short rolls. I got the dice. I go out 160 across, and I'm like, all right, let's go. Let's do a little duck and cover here, right? Set a point, get a hit, horn number 7. I'm like, God. So just burned $96 on him and burned a better part of 160 on me, just because I wanted to throw like a dumbass, right? And I should have been in bed. I would have been up, and I was really pissed at myself, right? And so the next morning I woke up. You'll see here. The next morning I woke up. And I had a coffee run on the way out the door and didn't do anything on that coffee run. And the nighttime session, I'll get it back here the next day. The nighttime session, we went to Planet Hollywood. This was a good one. This was, I think this is, my dollar there was wrong. Saturday night, Planet Hollywood was Joe's heater night. Joe was on a heater. I was sitting with, on stick right again. It was Ryan, myself, and Jen around the back of the table there. And that was the night that Joe hit the full ATS and the small. And we were kind of sharing it. So we were like each of us put in 5 for every shooter. So it was $5 a person, and we just kind of dinked and dunked. Again, Joe saved the day on that one with those ATS because it was not a great table. Joe saved the day on that. But it was fantastic, right? My number here is wrong. That's the wrong day for the dollar win. The dollar win was the next night. Anyway, the next morning I get up and Ryan's like, coffee run? Like, coffee run, right? So we get downstairs. We meet up at the table and he's like, dude, I'm going to try and regress. Now, Ryan, by the way, mark the point. I'll let him tell his own story because he made a lot of money. He made a lot of money in some pretty exciting ways. And when you make a lot of money early in a trip like he did, you kind of got this like your swag, and you're like, I'm gonna start going, right? Which he did, and I said, I dare you to regress, dude. Like, I dare you to regress, right? So I did. I went out there, I did the duck and cover, and I'm like boom, 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 and I'm out of the hand. Got my money back that I'd lost basically the night before on that dumb 96 across decision. Got it back. Ryan regressed. I got him to regress. Right after he regressed, the 7 came and he cashed out. I think he regressed 160, whatever, and took a couple hits. And he cashed out basically what he regressed. He cashed out like plus 190 or something like that. So got him, right? That was cool. And then Sunday night, this is the backwards night. I had these 2 nights. The first night up there, Saturday night, we won the 350 or so, $300 or so. The night after that, so Sunday night was the night that I won a buck. Played. Got killed. We got killed. And yeah, it was such a weird up and down night, right? The guy, when I hit that big hard 4 win that I told you about, the guy had all the 4s at the 4 to $300 at 25 on the hard way, and he hit it for me, which was great. I rolled after him, actually did okay. And after all that, I cashed out of that table up $1. Right, I cashed out up $1. I was down to nothing. I bought him for like 800 or 900 bucks. I was down to about 100, and worked that last 100 on that guy all the way back up, right, to get even on that one. Normally, when I'm behind like that, I grind it out to get even. This time, I didn't grind it out. I actually went for it in the four, and the 10 never got hit, but I went for it hard in the four to get even, or just to kind of let that go, and I ground on the other numbers. It worked out, and I all done, dealer tips, everything else, and I actually tip the dealers a well and a lot, and I have a new kind of dealer pattern that I'm using for tipping them. Anyway, they made out really good. They made out better than I did because I tipped them probably about 60 or 70 bucks throughout that set of hands, and I cashed out for $1 profit. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I walk over to the stadium area where they're all playing, and I'm making fun of myself. I'm like, oh, guys, I won $1, whatever, They're all playing bubble, and we're sitting around just talking, just kind of whatever. And I'm like, I think I might play, So I bought in for $100, and I walk over to the stadium machine, right? And I'm sitting there, whatever. And the stadium it's so cheap. It's a buck of whatever. So, it's a couple of lay bets and a little lacrosse bet. I'm kind of just tinkering around, and I think I bought him for 100, and I'm just sitting there just to waste time. I might have been down to 45 bucks, 45 or 50 bucks, 45 bucks, something like that. Anyway, guy next to me gets up to go shoot, and I'm like, great. When he gets done, I'll shoot, and then I just wanted to shoot on the stadium table, right? Well, of course, what do? What do you think I did? 32 across. The same mistake I made the other day at sunset. I go 32 across on the guy. I figure I'll take a hit or two. I'll pull down, and I'll be able to go 32 across on myself. That was what I was thinking, right? Son of a bitch PSOs on me, right? And now I got like $9 in my rack. $9. And I'm like, God, my turn. The dealer hits the button. Do you want to play? Yeah, I want to play. I didn't put any more money in the machine. I really just wanted to shoot, right? Up I go to shoot. And $5 pass line bet is all I could do. I had $5 in the pass line, $4 up in the kitty, and I couldn't do anything else, right? Set a point of 10, and I'm like, oh yeah. So here I am with $5 in the pass line. I set a point of 10, right? Well, 28 rolls later, right? That was a really good roll. I maybe 20. I don't know what it was. It doesn't matter. It was a long roll. Everybody made a bunch of money. I hit the 10 on about roll 10 or so, right? So I got my pass line back, which is great. I go pass line and field, right? I set a point of 9, so my field bet pays. I grabbed the 6 and the 8 with that, and now I got the pass line 9, 6 and the 8, and I rolled for like another 10 or 15 rolls, and I ended up making money on myself. Not much. I think I might have cashed out when I finally said I might have cashed out about 30 or 40 bucks on probably a 30 roller, but I started it with $5. All I had was a pass line 10. It's a good story to tell because it's funny and it's stupid, and John made a dumb decision, whatever, not dumb decision, but just whatever, short-sighted decision to go on the guy before me and then not to rebuy in, but whatever. I wanted to shoot in that machine, and then I walked over to the other table, the main table, and I played again, and I shot really good. I went from 28 or whatever it was on the stadium, another 20 plus over there on the bigger table, and cashed out up. So that was a great night. I actually walked over there, and Ian was with me on that one. So Ian, if he's in the chat, will remind you. I walked up, and my position's open. I walk on in there, you know what I mean? And Ian's throwing. Guys got their chips everywhere, landmines all over the place. I tell the guys to move, and the guy gives me the old, F you kind of thing. Like, trust me, when guys are aiming for, they were both new players. When guys are aiming for a spot, just try and make it so it's a clear runway for them, please. He's, oh, okay, I'm sorry, dude. But and Ian, the very next throw is a 7. Doesn't hit a chip, doesn't hit nothing, throws a 7. I'm like, look like an idiot now, right? Anyway, it comes back around, and this is the guy I was talking. I was like, I just had a great shot over there on the stadium, like 25 plus. What? He goes, really? I'm going to see you shoot, right? Here come the dice to me. The guy next to Ian is the most obnoxious drunk you can imagine, right? He is screaming and yelling. He's talking about the hooker he's going to buy with his winnings, and it was a whole thing, right? And so I look over to Ian, and he's giving me this kind of look. And I'm like, oh, great, So I'm like, I'm just going to throw, and then we can get out of here, right? So I had a great roll, 20 plus rolls. It was awesome. Made a bunch of money there. Cashed out way up for me, $300 or so. on just a bunch of box numbers, no ATS, not wasn't even close to ATS on that one. And then I went out there again on Ian, right, like 160 or something, and the guy was just Mr. Obnoxious over here. I think Ian threw like 2, so I got like half my money back and gave a little bit back, and then we took off. But that was a good night. It was a good way to kind of just decompress after the whole thing was over with. And then what happened was, let's go. Come on, where's my next screen? Then we had, let's see. Ooh, that's wrong. Where's my last? It doesn't say it on here. Did I forget to put it on there? My sayonara bet, my sayonara Monday morning bet. So Monday morning I get up, I sleep in, I get up, I come downstairs, I go get some breakfast at the place, and I'm like, I'm gonna get out of here. So I'm texting people like, when are you guys leaving? What's your flights? All this kind of stuff. And off I go to the table, and it was just me and one guy at the table. He shoots, I buy in, he shoots again because I didn't have action, of course, right? And I bet on him. I think I tied, whatever, couple $10 up or down. I get the dice. Me and the dealer's up on the ATS, and I kick it out. Right, kicked out the ATS at about a 20 roller or so. Just dropped the mic moment. Right, so the dealers made a ton of money on that one. I actually bet for them during that. So that was, I don't bet for the dealers a lot, but my 5 was up to 125, and I hit it. And so I took the 175 hit that I got. I gave them a quarter. Did I give them a quarter? Yeah, I gave him a quarter on that one, and I said, "Look, drop 20, play 5." Something else hit for something else. I forget what it was, and the same thing. I said that was a dealer win. I think it was a 9 hit for $35. I said dealer win. I said finish out your box and drop $15, and that's how I did it with them. So I basically gave them the caps off the wins, let them do it. They were loving me a lot there. That was the golf club run, right? I think up to then I was up about $400, roughly speaking, between being down 3 up to whatever. I was fair to middling even most of the weekend, just not really super volatile. That thing, again, the chip porn caused by the ATS, you know what I mean? I'm that guy. I would have left up anyway, but I wouldn't have been able to buy the golf clubs. Right. So that's that word. All right, let's look at the event itself. I'm gonna go through some of the good, the bad, and the ugly, and we'll talk through what happened. So the good, we did raise 20K so far. I noted this before. We're going to go till Veterans Day. We're going to keep the bidding and auctions open till Veterans Day. So 20K so far. We're going to get to 25. Okay. What you may or may not know behind the scenes is veterans moving forward, it costs $50,000, we know, to buy, raise, train, fully fund a dog all the way through the process, right? 25,000 though is there, like most carries have like gold, silver, bronze, whatever, chairman's club. For them, 25,000 is that number. 25,000 gets you naming rights for the dog. So we need to get 5,000 more. I want to name that dog. I've had numerous conversations with Ed Robinson. I really want to name the dog after his boy. He and I have talked about it. We've all talked about it. I mean, I've said that live on the show before, but that's always been the plan. Since that incident happened, that's always been the plan. So I'm committed. I'm asking you to be committed. Let's make another $5,000 between now and November 11th. Let's get it done to get naming rights. So I'm going to be pushing you hard all the next couple of weeks to get that done. That's the goal. We did have a schedule overlap with the Blue Wrench crew, which was great. Not planned. It just happened to work out that way. But it was great because there was a lot of Big AZ's team, including him, there in town. So it was awesome to get with them. The good, I should put you guys on the awesome list, but I put you on the good list. Jen and Ian, this event doesn't happen without those two. And I said this out there at the event. Without them, you got to know this, right? We picked a weekend that was stupid, right? No rooms available. The rooms that were available were stupidly expensive. Premier couldn't even get us rooms. It was tough, right? Jen plays a lot. Jen's got a lot of status in the different casinos and was able to secure rooms for me, for Joe, for Ryan, for Brian, and for Ian. Got us all rooms. None of us, this I'm telling you what, we were within 2 or 3 days of the whole event happening from right here. Because I'm like, we can't go. I mean, if we don't have rooms, we can't do this, right? Jen stepped up huge and got us all a place to live, which was fantastic. Ian just carries the water, man. That dude is he is the bomb. They just crushed it for me all weekend. And of course, yeah, everybody else, the rest of the staff was amazing, right? You got Ryan, Brian, Craig, Joe, everybody. I'm like, hey, I'm literally going between interviews. I'm like, can you get blah blah? And then just like things happen, right? Like I need X, charge the mic, do this. Craig, we're gonna change scene, and it was like literally, and it got to be like hive mind, right? It got to be like they'd know what I need, and it would happen, right? Bringing me waters and all the stuff, right? It was fantastic, right? I mean, the crew is always amazing, right? Helping this thing through, and this year, I was better at kind of getting people prepped than what I wanted this year than last year. A lot less run by the hip than it usually is, but man, everybody stepped up huge. I got to call out too. I didn't put a note on here for them, but I got to call out Casino Quest, David and Alex, and Nick and all the guys there. Dennis, they gave us the table, the back corner of their place. They were fully welcoming. They were awesome. It was fantastic. The Dealer Training Center is awesome. They were what a great partnership that is. I think the interviews were pretty much off the hook. We had great interviews. We said it during the show. If you all watched it, you know, there's a lot of wisdom being spilled out there. You got Garrison was great, by the way. I mean, Garrison was freaking awesome. The chat comments when he was going were like, I don't know why people, you know, are always hating on him. He's great. It was awesome, right? People in chat were like, wow, this is fantastic information, right? Tony Leo was awesome. Bo Parker, of course, was awesome. The heavy interview was well received. Everything was great. Right? All the interviewers stepped up. David was awesome. The guy from Ellis Island, my God, that was one of the best interviews I've ever done. Such a good series of interviews. And everybody was, the only bummer of the whole weekend was I couldn't get with Jacob. Jacob from Waging Me This, we had a scheduling issue. I was running really behind Saturday. You guys don't know this. I was running way behind, but we were running the whole thing about an hour behind Saturday. Jacob's son, congratulations to him. I think they won their football league or whatever. So they were in a parade. So he's like, I can't get there. I'm gonna be late. I'm like, don't worry about it. We got it covered. We stretched it out, got it all done. So we didn't get to hook up with Jacob at all this weekend. So we will get with Jacob at some point here. But anyway, that was great. The interviews were awesome. What did I say there? The wisdom shared. Yeah. A lot of in-person donations. And again, last year we had 50 people there doing this. This year we had about 12. But man, I would say something like, you know, blah, 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 and here comes $100. Blah, 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 here comes $50 from somebody else. Alan Tyndall rolls in. They hit a 6-point fire bet in the overnight. He rolls in. From his win of the fire bet, boom, drops $1,000 out there, right? The in-person donations were off the charts this year, and everybody there stepped up. In the moment, Ashish, the chef, says, hey, you know what? I'm going to donate my services. I'm going to fly to somebody's house and cook them dinner and brunch. This is a guy that's cooked for 2 presidents. He cooked at Buckingham Palace, right? That's not like me cooking for you, right? This is the heart of people, and you find that out when you get there, of course, right? And I got to call out my son, Zach, for hooking us up with the car. We were so far away. Sunset Station's not close. It's 25, 30-minute drive from everything. Having the car was amazing, right? Although it's hard for me to talk to 6 people and pay attention. Jen will tell you she had to assign a co-pilot to keep me on point. But having the car, and my son works at Enterprise, so we got the family rate. So it didn't cost us much. We spent about, I'm gonna guess, a quarter, maybe more than that, what we would have spent with Ubers. So my son really, really hooked us up. Yeah, no 10-ton, Jen says, right? He wasn't there. He was sick as a dog, so we missed him too. And we made it through, right? This is the thing, you adjust as it goes through, right? And that all worked out, which was great. So some things weren't great, right? Of course. I picked the worst possible weekend, right? No rooms available. The ones that were available were super expensive. It was a lot of traffic. It was just kind of a gross weekend. I also didn't communicate well enough to our crew. Like, and Leon, I'm sorry, I didn't call Leon. Leon was there too. I didn't call you out. And I didn't communicate well enough, fast enough to get people rooms on their own. And I thought we were going to get it covered and we didn't. So I screwed up completely on the logistics of this thing. I own 100% of that. That was just my fault. Those lodging issues, I own that. Well, next year we'll do a better job. Next year it's a better weekend. Nothing really going on. We even talked about doing an Airbnb for some of the staff, so we'll think about that. Um, what do I have here? I say bring. I can't even see my own notes. What did I write there? Being so far from it all. Yeah, we were too far away. We were. Yeah, Sunset was a good host for us, but we were far. Like, it was a half-hour drive in, so our playing decisions were like, when a host gets you a room, you're kind of obligated to stay and play. But that's what Eric was telling us during his session. You're obligated to be there, but we're so far. It's like we wanted to get and play other places, right? So that made it kind of difficult, right? So next year, we'll be a little bit closer in there. And I think, what do I have here? The cameras. Yeah, there was issues. Like, we couldn't really move them around, right? Like, they were stuck at one here, right in front of you, that was pointing at the wall, one at the table. They were on tripods. There wasn't a lot of room to move around the camera, so we did what we did, right? We were stuck in the spot, right? And luckily, Craig from Old Bay ran the controls the entire weekend. So we basically gave him like little stanchions to kind of keep people away from him so he couldn't step on cords. And he just kind of crushed the whole show right from that one. He ran everything you saw on screen. Craig did all the work, getting all that stuff to work. But he didn't have a lot of flexibility. He couldn't move things around. He couldn't get the shots he wanted. It just is what it is, right? With the setup that we had. Next year, we'll have an extra camera, and we'll get that figured out, I think, right? Yeah, not a lot of room to roam. CQ was open. The story that they told, by the way, where they lost their mall lease, impacted us because all of Casino Quest in the mall, all that equipment and stuff was there at the facility, just kind of there because they had like 2 days before we got there, they had to move it all in. So it was kind of a mess, right? I think there was too much John. I always say this, right? I did every interview except for the one session with Ryan and Brian on the cruising, which was great. I pretty much, and in the very end, I'm pretty much on camera the entire time, which means I can't also be schmoozing. For me, it's hard, right? I want to do the interviews. I want to make sure it's right. I'm kind of like running it, so to speak, but also operating it, right? And I can't do it all. And so next year, I think an adjustment to make is going to be having other people preset. Like, you're going to interview that guy, you're going to interview that guy, or you're going to, I'll have different people set up to interview different people. So A, we get rest, and B, because what I found was I couldn't get around and thank people. It's like, hey, thanks for being here, Nick from Ellis Island. And then boom, next segment, I'm off. I couldn't even say goodbye to the guy, right? So I got no schmoozing done, hardly at all. I had like 2 minutes between segments to run and get a drink or something. And it was very hard to do that. So I would say this, my strengths are also my weaknesses, right? I'm good at planning, like having the big idea. I'm good at executing the interviews. I'm good with the energy. But because of that, it makes me weak in all these other areas. So it's about leveraging people that are there and about taking a step back a little bit on some of that stuff and being more Jerry Lewis-ish. Bingo sucked, by the way. Jen warned me ahead of time, bingo's going to suck. Bingo sucked, and the real reason why it sucked was because of the sevens, right? The sevens cleared the board, which made it take too long. Lesson learned, sevens don't count in the next bingo runs. The other part why bingo sucked is that we were running behind, and in the middle of that, Jen said, she tapped me on the shoulder, John, David's got a hard stop at 2 o'clock. It was 1:25 when she said it. I'm like, oh my God, it's 1:25. He's got a hard stop at 2. We got to stop this game. And I'm like, Jeremy, one more roll, stop the game. I'm like, everybody stopped. I had to clear it because I wanted to get David on there because that was the session where David did the pressing with me and Jeremy, right? I think was it that one or was it it was one of his 2 sessions. I think it was the pressing one. And I'm like, I can't do a half an hour with him and that be it, right? So luckily David stayed longer than his half an hour with us, which was great. But I was really pissed that it didn't work. I wanted it to work. It would have worked fine, but being so far bumped up against David's hard stop at 2, I had to make a call. I'm like, fuck, I got to stop the bingo. I got to stop it. And there was a little bit of ugly in there. I'll explain that in a minute to you. But yeah, bingo was terrible. I'm gonna fix it. We're gonna do bingo this week. It'll be fine without the sevens, I think. but I snapped a little bit, and I made what I thought was a joke that wasn't taken as a joke, and it comes off bad, right? Bingo was one of the big downers of the weekend, unfortunately, and we never played it again because of that. So, plans that I had for some of the interlude games didn't work, and the Zoom thing sucked too, right? Zoom was hard because we had a speaker there, so the audience could hear the Zoomers, right? Jeff and those guys, but that speaker, of course, goes into our mics and you get the echo effect. So trying to have remotes is really, really difficult with speakers. So I got to figure something else out for that. And I don't think I used Jeremy and Leon and Joe and Ryan and Brian enough, right? So that going back to my earlier point, next year, I'd like to have them on site and have them conduct some interviews, or like Ryan and Brian did, interview each other. I think that's going to be a good adjust for us next year. Now, there were a couple of uglies, and they were kind of the same thing. Okay, one, the hot mic moments, and I'll address them both separately. There was one with me, and this was the bingo moment. So Jen and I were sitting there, and and I think she could tell I was in a full panic because I'm like, David's got this hard stop, bingo's not going well. Timing, we had a 60-second delay, wasn't going well, and I basically said, we're stopping the game. She says, you can't stop, we're mid-game. I said, we have to stop. I got to get David on here. Bingo doesn't matter. And she's like, people have money on the cards. You have a prize out there. I'm like, I can't do it. And I forget what else she said. And I said, look, I said it, I thought jokingly. I'm like, I got to stop it. It's my show. I got to do it the way I want to do it, right? And what I meant by that was, I was trying to make light of a bad situation because it was horrible, and I needed to get David out there, and it came off like I snapped, and Jen got pretty mad at me, and I think with good reason. So Jen, publicly, I apologize to you privately, and publicly I owe you one, right? That was not my best moment. We were floundering in the moment with the game of bingo. I was irked on time there, and I was really worried that we were going to lose the show because I knew I didn't have Jacob. I knew 10 Ton wasn't going to be there for the big bankroll piece. We were going to skip the whole piece. I knew David had the thing, and that was the one moment, in all honesty, that I had full panic mode. Like, we're not going to make it. I knew the donations were down. I knew we were off time, and I thought, this is it. This is when the whole thing goes upside down, and we're not going to make it. And I said what I said, and I apologize to you. I apologize to everybody because it was a bad look for me. Okay. Now the second hot mic moment was Michael Shackelford, which I did not hear, of course, because I was over here doing other shit. I'm like, hey man, give me your mic, give me the mic, and blah 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 blah. Later on, someone said, I think Michael said something about John Patrick. I'm like, well, whatever, right? So I get home, and Garrison's texting me like, you got to go to the video. It's at hour whatever, you got to cut this piece out. Shackelford says something nasty about Patrick. I'm like, okay, and I go and I find it, and I slice it out of the Casino Quest video, right? So it's not there. Garrison and Patrick are very good friends. He did not want that in there, so I cut it out. So the hot mic moment is gone now, right? You won't be able to hear it now. It was heard, right? The guys that were in the green room heard it. The guys on Zoom heard it, and if you saw it, Ed Robinson, if you haven't seen it yet, Ed Robinson put out a great video last night. I'm gonna correct Ed on one point that he made. He put out a great video, and by the way, Ed Robinson is freaking fantastic. We'll talk more about him in a minute. But he put out a great reaction video, and part of that video was a lot of highlights of John Patrick, and Shackelford stepped in it. I mean, I'm not gonna call a spade, right? He, a lot of people have a lot of ego, right? And what I find is that especially academics have this holier than thou kind of you're all, everything you think is nonsense, right? And I've got some good friends that are, Matthew, not just JB, I have other ones too, right? And a lot of my work friends, right? I work in tech, and a lot of these guys are like computer scientists. They went to college, have master's degrees in computer science, and I never went to college for that, right? I'm self-taught, regular dude, right? They're very egotistical, might be the word you might want to use. I say a little look down, a little holier than thou, right? A little bit like, I went to college, you didn't. I know you don't. You're wrong. Not just you're wrong, but you're wrong. You're wrong, and you're a bad person for being wrong. Like, that's the kind of attitude that you feel from some of these guys, right? that came through on Shaq's hot mic moment last night, right? He called Patrick. What did he call him? He said he was now I can't remember the word he used. I'm blanking because it's I'm riffing here, but he said his book was nonsense, right? It's not nonsense. Like my whole weekend, you can look at my whole weekend was John Patrick in a bottle, right? Money management, discipline, right? Knowledge of the game, trends. I don't like the word trends. All that stuff, right? Is the reasons why I can go to Vegas for 5 days, never hit an ATM machine. I rolled in there with $1,000. I rolled out there with more than that, right? Never touched an ATM machine. Why? Because I have money management, I have discipline, I have knowledge of the game, right? All the things that Patrick taught is not nonsense, right? Not at all. I think calling a guy who's not, like Ed said, not only a war hero, and I mean a war hero. This is where I'll correct Ed. Ed wasn't sure. I think Ed might have said, I think Ed's exact words were, I'm not sure about this part of the story. He called him, that's right, D. He called him a quack. He called him a quack. I mean, come on. John Patrick's story that Ed relayed is true. I mean, it's I have firsthand knowledge of the story, so I know he was in Korea. He was a POW. He fought his way out, took guys out on the way, and that haunted him his whole life. I can tell you that right now, right? It haunted him his whole life. So John is a war hero. So Ed, the correction for Ed is that story you relayed is a true story, for sure. And yeah, I agree. I think, and the way that Ed framed it last night was, you come to an event for veterans and you put a veteran, if he would have said, I respect John, he's a vet and I don't agree with him, right? Fine, right? But, you can't, the thing you can't do is blame somebody for what gets said on a hot mic moment. But what I said in the chats for Ed is that hot mic moments are revealing. Right? We've had presidents, as you know, have some hot mic moments that are bad. Right? Recently, really bad hot mic moments. And it's like, well, now we know. And when that happens, the now we know, right? And that's the thing. So it's unfortunate, right? And I think, you can disagree with somebody and that does not mean that what they say is nonsense. And I think somebody said to me, well, I'll cover that in a minute. I just want to get this out here, right? So that's that hot mic moment. Again, you can't blame a guy for a hot mic moment. That's actually my fault for not getting the microphone back. But what got said, in the context in which it was said, in the location in which it was said, in the venue in which it was said, not cool at all. And I can be friends with people and really, really dislike what happens. Really, really dislike what. And we can disagree on a lot of things. I disagree with a lot of my good friends on a lot of things, and that's perfectly fine. As a matter of fact, I enjoy the fact that we don't agree on everything. But going into saying that who says is nonsense or snake oil or whatever, that takes it up to a different level. And I think, like I said, the hot mic moments can be revealing, and it's unfortunate that happened. And I think Ed's right. I probably won't have him back on that event again. I just can't do it, right? It's just one of those things where, I have so much respect for John Patrick, and anyway, I leave the thing saying this, and my feelings are, this is going to sound too nice, but why can't we have nice things, right? And like I walk away I don't want to be disappointed. I walked away disappointed. Like the weekend to me was a good weekend that ended on three really sour notes for me, right? It ended on the hot mic moment that I had, or the panic moment that I had with Jen, made me feel like shit. The not getting the goal felt like I failed the charity, right? And this thing with Shackelford, it's like, I mean, bring somebody on. He's a good friend of mine. He always helps us out, and you're just like, can we just, you know what I'm saying? It's like it's like when Gargoyle and JB had their thing, and when Gargoyle, had the issue with the Crafts chat, and I'm just like, I'm trying to do something good, and somebody has to take a dump on it, right? And that's how I feel like, and it's like, I'm pissed about that kind of thing because we shouldn't have a pall over the event because of something like that. But that's what ends up happening is that's I can't change it, right? I can't take it back. He can't take it back, nothing, right? And I just feel like, damn it, you know what I mean? It's like, why do we have to have a negative? You know what I mean? It's like you put your heart and soul out there, and other people do too, and it just brings it down to a level that I didn't want to bring it down to, right? And yeah, so Ed, I think I can't say much more. Ed framed it perfectly last night. So go watch Ed's reaction video and pretend I'm saying the same thing because everything Ed said is exactly what I'm thinking. He just said it. He said it first, and he said it better. I'm just here to back him up on it. So that's what that's all about. There was some awesome. I'm going to close here on a good note with us, right? There was some awesome things about the event, right? Bo Parker. I'm just going to say that the dice coach. That guy's awesome, right? He put up anybody who donated $500 free. Come to my house and let's learn how to bet together. Lessons, right? Learn how to bet and throw. Free lessons, right? He's got to do like 11 of them. Like there are so many people did that, right? It's amazing, right? We learned that Ian can sell. I knew he was a salesman, right? You know Ian, right? That dude, like, I'm like, hey, we gotta, can we auction off these? He's like, boom. In 6 minutes, he had sold like $500 worth of stuff. Like, he's great, right? Ian, that's your job next year, right? Jen can freaking organize. Like, Jen is on point, right? Not just the fact that she got us the rooms, but talk about getting us navigating through the week. And man, that was great. Ryan can freaking bet, right? I missed one. Joe can freaking throw, right? We'll put that on there too. Ryan can bet like and not like maniac, right? Just he's willing to bleed, and then go, man. Watching him bet was so much fun. It was great. The most amazing thing for the weekend to me was Ed Robinson, right? His words right at the beginning of and right at the end of the Craps Chat episode, really his closing thoughts were the most powerful thing I think I've heard in person probably ever. I mean, aside from words that have been spoken at people's funerals, I can't even sum it up what Ed did in that moment, right? In those moments that he had the microphone. Everybody in that room wasn't just tearing up. There was sobbing, like literal, you couldn't see it. Like Lori from the charity was like both hands sobbing. Jen was sobbing. It was rough, man. Ed, you destroyed the room, right? Unbelievable, right? And you have to know this. Okay, somebody asked me, I won't say who it is, behind the scenes, what is it with John? What is it with you and Ed? Why does he hate you? Like, Ed doesn't hate me. Ed and I love each other. We're like, I was telling Tenton this on the phone. We're like brothers, right? And it's like, I don't even know Ed that well. We don't talk every day like he talks to some people every day, right? But I think we're pretty close. You don't have to agree on stuff, right? I think I've said a couple of things, crap list, the trending thing. I think one time I said, the par tosses, whatever, that have pissed him off, right? And that's okay. My brother and I piss each other off all the time, right? But I'll tell you what, you're going to jump in front of a bus for somebody that you love, right? And when you can dislike me or dislike him or dislike whoever else, whatever, but when you see what somebody's got in their heart and what's on their heart and what comes out when they speak from their heart, that tells you all you need to know. And again, you look at hot mic moments are revealing, right? They say the measure of a man is what he does when nobody's looking, right? You got a window into that from one person, from Michael. Ed put it out there for you, and there wasn't a thing Ed said that was written or practiced or anything. He just let his heart pour out all over that whole show, right? Brought all the tears, not casino tears, but real tears. And I think, to me, having the experience of working with such a great team of people, right? Ryan and Brian and Joe and Leon and Jen and Ian and David and all the crew was it's humbling that people want to give their money, their time, and all of that. It was humbling to know that the reason why I do this every year is for families that have somebody with PTSD in the family and what it does for the families and how this can be tactical and help them out. Ed is the embodiment of that. Ed literally is the embodiment of why we do this. And I wish he was there in person. Give him a big old hug. He dropped the mic like nobody can drop a mic on that whole thing. And if you were there, you know what I'm talking about. That room was like, holy crap, man. It was unbelievable. So there was a lot of amazing to go around this week. And a lot of more good and a lot of more other things that we can talk through. But as it goes, we have to look ahead, right? Next year, we need a casino home. I really think we need a casino home. We need a private table. We need rooms. It's got to be close to the action. We got to find a place to be. Sure, Casino Quest is great for interviewing and the things we do, like at the table. We need a place to retreat to at night, right? I think less interviews and more stuff, right? The interludes where we're having fun, if they can be, and I may use this show to practice them a little bit, right? Like bingo, that kind of idea, but better. Things like that, more fun, will be great. I think higher minimums on the raffle tickets would be a better. I couldn't change it this year because it's what it is. We'll try some of that stuff. We're going to try and tie in some gameplay, right? I think Ian's going to have to be on camera more, doing more selling. I'm not good at that. I know I'm not good at that. I'm good at the other stuff, right? We need to do a better job of marketing and a better job of messaging. There's things we can do to improve for next year, next time. What now? What next? We need to make $5,000 in the next 2 weeks, okay? I'm going to play bingo every day. We're going to auction stuff off. We're going to go every day. We're going to try and get stuff sold. We're going to try and work through this as we go through it. I'm going to be a pain in your ass for a few weeks, but we got to get it done. And that's kind of where the whole thing ends up. So we can do some Q&A if you'd like to, and just kind of get through it here. I've got about 3 or 4 minutes, but let me just go and search for the letter Q here in the chat. Where's my keyboard? Oh, there it is. Sorry, I'm not quite set up here with the new system to get going. Let's see, that letter Q colon. Any Q's? There's no questions really. Okay, here's what skill set. So skill set, I play after day 2. I played every day. Somewhere I played every day. I might have forgot a session. I didn't log everything out like I probably should have. Next year I will do a better job of that. I played every day. I never really lost my bankroll. I lost 50% of it one session, but I always found a way to kind of crawl it back. I was running average 100 down, 200 up most of the weekend, and then we had the nice win at the end. I think I was up at about 450 before the ATS hit. So let's see, future visions for Crash for the Cure. Like I said, I think what I talked about, I think for sure I want to do less interviewing, more interactive things, more gameplay, I think, but not these long running games. It's got to be punchy and quick. We need to do a better job in the moment of pulling money out. I'm not very good at stopping an interview and saying, by the way, here, give me $20 for the mouse, right? I'm not good at that stuff. And I know that. So I got to figure that rhythm out. We'll get there for sure. Let's see. Jen says 28 roller, not 35. Pay attention late. Oh yeah. I forget what he rolled. It was a long roll. I don't know Jen tracks everything. I think Jen, you might have had a great roll too at some. I forget who had what rolls. I think the lady at the end, what was her name? Taffy, had that one great roll that was awesome. Jen says whatever number of rolls I threw, Joe copied me. I was right one, he was left one. So yeah, that's right. It went you and then Joe like almost back to back, right? And it was such a good thing. Tables were not bad. We played at $10 tables at the station casinos all the time. Durango was $10 tables, and Planet Hollywood was $15. We played at $15 tables the entire time. So the best table to go back to again. The crapless table was great. I threw great on that table. It was super hard. It was like a dream table. A lot of people couldn't adjust to it, right? Because you're so used to playing on other tables, right? The guys who practice throwing on their home table or on other casino tables weren't used to the hard surfaces are good if you can throw on it, right? But they're not for everybody. And it took a lot of people some adjustment time to kind of get like they felt like they were used to it. I felt pretty at home there. I like that table a lot. I didn't find any unfair tables. Most tables to me feel the same. They feel roughly the same. The Durango table, all the station casino tables, it seems like they have their whatever system they use to put them together is pretty consistent. The Planet Hollywood table is the same thing. I like them all. I actually love my favorite thing of all. Honestly, I love that stadium table. I love that stadium craps. I mean, I don't know why. I love it, but I do. It's a fun game to play. It's so much better than stupid roll to win. Um, let's see, Ashish. The prizes are a raffle or an auction. They are raffles, so it's a raffle. So you're going to buy chances at the thing. So basically, if somebody wants you to come cook for them, Ashish, right? I put $25 in. I have 25 tickets in the bin, so to speak, right? So that's the more you put into these things, the more chances you have. For example, Joe's table raised almost $1,000. It means that there's 1,000 raffle tickets in the hopper. You're going to get a 1 out of 1,000 chance to win, right? Some people bought 100 tickets, so they have 100 in 1,000 chance to win, right? The more tickets you buy, the more chance you've got. So okay, I'm getting reminded there. Let's see. Why not ask Shackelford why he thinks Patrick is a quack? All right, we can do it. I know why he thinks he's a quack, because he's a math guy, right? Math guys, this is the way that they look at anybody who believes in trend betting of any kind or of money management. I've had this argument with other people too. Like, you didn't win $100,000 in the daily paycheck because of discipline or money management. You won it because you were lucky. I've been told that by a number of people, right? Like, don't celebrate that. You were lucky. You didn't do anything to make it happen, right? And you didn't control the dice well. You didn't manage your money well. You didn't manage your bankroll properly. None of that mattered. It was all luck, right? That's the issue that Shackelford has with frankly everybody. He'd had that same issue with John Patrick, with Tony Leo, with Bo Parker, with Heavy Haltom, with Ed Robinson, right? Anybody who doesn't play the strictest way and is proposing another way to do it would literally say that they are full of nonsense. And I think that's the I'm educated and you're not, look down the nose at you kind of a thing. A lot of people that live in that world act that way, right? And it can be off-putting, right? It doesn't mean we're not friends, right? But it does mean that your words matter, right? And you can have an opinion, it's fine, but sometimes your opinion's best kept to yourself. And there's the better part of that, right? And some people just can't help but share their opinion, right? Whether it's asked for or not, and whether it's appropriate to give or not, and whether the context that you're in or not. So that's unfortunate. Let's see. September, I will confirm it soon, but yes, that's the weekend I'm targeting. I want to make sure that there's nothing else happening. I want to make sure that before I do it, that there is nothing else going on, for sure. Ryan, John did a great job. Proud. I am proud. I'm very proud of how we did, how it went in most respects. There are things that I have regret over, for sure. And again, you got to be honest about it, right? There was things that I did really, really wrong. So yeah, I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of you all more than anything else. Everybody in chat, all of our audience here, everybody stepped up in a big way. You, Ryan, Brian, Joe, Jen, Ian, Leon, who am I missing? I forget who I'm missing now. David, everybody stepped up, and that's the thing that I think is awesome. Seeing people step up is really cool. And Mark says, books and self-promotion aside, right? Garrison's a genius. I think it's interesting, right? People get mad at Garrison. He asked me, why do people hate on me so much? I'm like, it's because you're a guerrilla marketer, right? Garrison never misses a chance to put his book out there, right? Guy paid for his own book. He paid for the whole thing. He's got to make his money back. I get that, right? That can be off-putting, but if you get past all that and read the damn book and listen to what he says, there's wisdom in there, right? There's 50 years of playing in there, right? And these guys that make money, like, me on the regular, it's not by accident. I don't always walk away from Vegas a winner, right? Or a big winner. It's not by accident. It's not by pure luck, right? There's a little bit of skill and a little bit of, like, time to go, time to not go, time to build, time to attack. A lot of that is important, right? There's something there that I think some people don't get or just don't want to give credit to. And I think that's a damn shame. So anyway, that's it all. I have to go. It's work time. Y'all are great. Love y'all. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being part of it with me this week. The shows here, we're going to kind of get back into a rhythm as we go. A little bit of jumpiness today, quirkiness with the controls and all that stuff. I'll get better. At first, I literally set this whole room back up at 2:00 in the morning. Went to bed last night, so I have work to do to make the shows better here. But thanks for listening to me ramble, rant, share, and all that kind of stuff. Go watch Ed's video. Please go watch Ed's video. He says it perfectly in that video about the event. Additionally, get signed up. You have only 11 days now for Casino Player Magazine. Go raffle ticket for that for sure. If you subscribe on your own, they're donating money back. You buy Garrison's book, he's donating money back. You donate $500, Bo Parker's giving you money back to the charity. If you register for the Casino Tiers class, they're going to kick back $500 too. Everybody is stepping up to kick money back. Ashish here in chat, new raffle that went in on Sunday. He's willing to fly to your house and cook for you. And again, no, not a small thing. This is a big time world renowned chef willing to come to your house and cook. These are the kind of things that you don't just get to bid on every day. So get to the craftsforthecure.com and get your raffle tickets bought. Let's go. Let's get the 5K for the next 2 weeks. In the meantime, guys, God bless you. Love you all. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.